So music news. Did you know, before we get to the news, did you know that in Dungeons & Dragons, the bard's job is more than just to play the lute and seduce dragons? No, actually, it is also to cast vicious mockery, which is basically what about half of the bands we're about to talk to do for a living, just with more breakdowns. Welcome, nerds, to the Clips channel. If you are new here, then let me welcome you to the Clips. This is a smaller portion of a much larger video that happens over on the main channel. It's a series I like to call The Week in Nerddom. This right here is the music section. We are going to be talking about music-related things, tours, new music, reacting to videos, just regular news in the music news section, all of the things. Super excited to have you here. Let's get into the news. Okay, follow-ups and corrections this week. We do have a follow-up to that bizarre Weezer piece that we talked about previously. Weezer's bass player Scott Schreiner, his wife, Mrs. Lauren Schreiner, is not going to be doing any time for shooting at a suspected thief who was fleeing from the police and subsequently ran through her back property, her and presumably her husband's back property, while the wife of the bass player then pointed her gun at police. She has been granted, a diversion of mental illness from the presiding judge over the case. Which kind of makes sense, because in order to live in California in modern day, you have to be mentally ill. So there you go. New music and or videos. We have a new piece from Hunt the Dinosaur. They have just dropped a new track called Nefarious Outlaws. And I swear it is their very unique version of Deathcore. Granted, very unique, but also featuring a banjo? Now I know that sounds like a joke, but my neck is definitely not getting a laugh out of this. I really don't know what I'm going to do with this information, aside from the fact that I really know that I like it. So you should go check it out too. Speaking of music things that I really didn't expect, we have a new track from Juvenile. That's right, we talk about other things besides just aggressive music on this channel. When it has to do with random things from my childhood, Juvenile's back with Mannie Fresh and D1 for a new song called He Gone. It would seem that the Dirty South is actually alive and well, and this is kind of just like a straight up fun track from a dude we haven't heard from in a while, so definitely go check this one out too. Next up in new music, we have pop punk granddads. New Found Glory have announced a new album titled Listen Up, and it is going to be coming out February of 2026, so we still have a few months yet, but they did just drop the first single off it called Laugh It Off, and guess what? Sounds exactly like New Found Glory. It would seem that some things just never change, and in this instance, that's not really a good thing. Then we have a new music video from the Acacia Strain for their song Swamp Mentality. It's heavy, it's aggressive, it's angry. It's the Acacia Strain, and if you know, you know, and if you don't, well then your ears are probably better off that way anyway. And then rounding out the new music section, we have a collaboration that kind of sounds very interesting on paper, being Chad Pyle and Hayden Pedigo. First, I'm really hearing of Hayden Pedigo, but I'm kind of intrigued by this. They released a new song together called Demon Time off of their upcoming EP that they're doing together. It really has this cool, spooky aesthetic, like it's very atmospheric, but it's also very anticlimactic. It's really kind of like waiting for a jump scare that just never comes. All right, nerds, look at this t-shirt design. Just look at it. On the one hand, you have the birth of cinematic horror, the iconic, from about a century ago, the iconic Phantom of the Opera. And then on the other hand, you have text in a font from some modern deathcore that probably is from a band that has a song about disemboweling something. This isn't just a shirt, this is a modern cultural statement. It says, "I enjoy the classics, But I also like music that sounds like a washing machine full of bricks falling down a flight of stairs. It's about balance. It's about art. It's about being the most specific nerd as possible. And you can get yours by following the link down in the description or going to generally-nerdy.creator-spring.com and check out some of the other designs up there too, because I'm quite proud of all of them. But this is my favorite, I think, by far. Either way, go check it out. Let's get back to this. And then that puts us into tours and festivals, and we have a cancellation to start things off here. We have, this one's gonna be a rough one for Avenged Sevenfold fans, so buckle up, because the news is now known that Avenged Sevenfold have postponed the entirety of their fall 2025 Latin America tour because frontman M. Shadows is dealing with a pretty significant, from the sounds of things, pretty significant vocal injury. In a statement released by the band, Shadows says it, quote, "It breaks my heart to have to do this," unquote, explaining that after the last leg of their last tour, his voice just wasn't recovering. His doctors have put him on vocal rest for the foreseeable future, which means screaming at thousands of fans every night is kind of off the table. He has stressed, though, so it's not all is not lost. Shadows has stressed that this is not a cancellation of the tour. It is merely a postponement, and the band have already gotten to work and started rescheduling dates for 2026. Understandably, it is a bit of a bummer for fans, but I mean, you can't really fault the guy for trying to take care of his primary instrument, right? So better a postponement now than permanent damage down the road, right? And then, in a bit of a happier note, we have Sonic Temple announcements next year in Columbus, Ohio. They have already started announcing bands for the lineup. This year's lineup is pretty beefy to start. We have Behemoth, Deathclock, and Cradle of Filth all having been added to the bill already. Festival is scheduled for May 14th and it runs through the 17th of 2026. Which then puts us into our regular ass news for music this week. We got the first trailer for the Ozzy and Sharon documentary called Coming Home. This is Ozzy Osbourne, obviously, on the BBC. It's set to premiere sometime in 2025. There is still not a proper release date for it, but it does promise an unfiltered look at their move back to the UK during Ozzy's ongoing health issues. Because honestly, if there's one thing we haven't seen enough of, it is the uncensored side of the Osbournes. All jokes aside, like, this looks kind of great. It's definitely going to be worth a watch. Go check out the trailer. Let's move on. And in speculative, but also kind of obvious news as far as music goes, it looks like Lamb of God is about to hit us with some new music at some point this week. The band have been dropping a bunch of hints all over the place that are definitely pointing for new music. So I guess it's time that we all just start practicing our Randy Blythe stomp across the living room until they release said new music, right? Oh, hey, so you're enjoying this clip, right? Well, good. But just so you know, this is just kind of the DLC, the side quest, if you will. For the full main campaign, where we break down all of the news for the week, you gotta go over to the main channel, which, if you don't know by now, is Generally Nerdy. So do the smart thing, and while you're here, hit the like and subscribe button. That'll get you all the highlights. And then you go over to Generally Nerdy and you like and subscribe there, and that's where you get the full intelligence briefing. Because nobody wants to walk around with incomplete patch notes. That's what we have for regular ass news. Let's talk now about our suggestion for the week. If you're looking to get into the spirit of Halloween, being as we are now officially into October, which is Halloween all month, right? If you're looking to get into the properly creepy mood, you must do yourself a favor. We've suggested this record previously on the channel, and this is the perfect time of year to get back into it. But you must go listen to the original soundtrack to the 1977 version of Suspiria. It is written and composed by the Italian prog rock band. It's kind of borderline proto metal, but the name of the band is Goblin. It is without a doubt one of the most unsettling and effective horror scores you have ever listened to. It is very honestly a masterclass in horror and dread and atmosphere that most modern composers, especially movie composers, really just hope they can achieve at some point in their career. So that is your suggestion this week. Go get the soundtrack to the 1977 version of Suspiria, the Goblin soundtrack, because it is chef's kiss. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.